My cheapest emergency bill was around $21. Saludos, thank you so much for tuning back into this channel. Gary and I, we really do appreciate it. If you're coming over from notifications, thank you so much for checking out this video as soon as it hit your notifications. If you're subscribed and you haven't done that yet, go ahead and turn on the notifications. And if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and subscribe and make sure you turn on notifications. I know quite a few of you guys are wanting to know what's the cost of living in the Dominican Republic. Well, if you've been watching some of our videos, you'll see that I've kind of been talking about different topics, you know, because when you are trying to look at the cost of living somewhere, you have to look at different things such as rent, your electricity bill, and so on and so forth. There's just so much to take into account for. So I've already done a video about rent, I've done a video about the electricity bill, and today I'm going to be talking about my emergency bills. No, I do not want you guys to worry about me like, oh my gosh, what happened while you were there? It's really, you know, like nothing that major. I will explain to you guys what happened and why I had to go. Let's just be real. Anything can happen at any time. We don't really know what's going to happen at the end of today. We don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. An emergency can come up. And that's kind of what happened to me while I was down in the Dominican Republic. If you've been watching these videos, you know I was living there for quite some time. And Gary was actually born and raised in Santo Domingo. Before I get into talking about that and what you can kind of expect if you ever have to go to the emergency room, first thing that I want to say is, you know, when I do these videos, I'm merely sharing my experience, and, you know, I just scratch the surface of a lot of topics because a lot of times, you know, when I'm done recording the video, there's like so many things that I remember afterwards I wish I would have included, or there's just some things that maybe I'm just not aware of. And then on top of that, we all have different experiences. We all may have paid different amounts for the same thing. So it's really just me showing you what I have paid for certain things while living in the Dominican Republic. Hopefully, if you're doing your research, you kind of see what I say and you see what other people have to say, and you can make your own conclusions and you can make your own decisions based off of all of that wonderful information. As always, I'm not telling anyone else what they should or they should not do. Again, this is just me sharing my personal experience. You know, I am very adventurous and I'm very free-spirited, and a lot of things don't bother me. I can be comfortable in a lot of different situations that other people just can't be. And yes, you're definitely going to hear a lot of stories from me where I paid almost absolutely nothing for a lot of things, but you know, I also paid the price for that. I had to sacrifice a lot of other things for that. So I just want you to be mindful of that. You can either not pay a whole lot for whatever it is that you're trying to get, but then you may also sacrifice quality. You may also sacrifice customer service. There's a lot of things that you could be sacrificing, or you could pay more. But in either case, I think the general consensus is, in regards to how much you could possibly be spending down in the Dominican Republic, it depends. It really does. It really depends. I would say though, no matter what, you could go down there, not spend a whole lot of money, and still be somewhere decent and have a great time. Like, that is for sure. Now, if you wanted to go down there and splurge and like spend thousands of dollars, you could definitely do that, and you will probably be living like a queen or a king. Yeah, I'm definitely not saying go more on the extreme side like I've done, but you could definitely go on the more extreme side if you wanted to. It's not a suggestion for all you guys to do though. An emergency can happen at any time and anywhere in the entire world. Not just the Dominican Republic, not just the United States. It can happen anywhere. So that's kind of what happened to me. Again, I'm going to explain what happened, but I'm going to go ahead and show you the bills that I have here, so you can see, you know, again, what I personally paid for having to go to the emergency room. Now, this experience may be different for everyone. Maybe it would be a different price if I went to a different hospital, if I went to a different clinic, like maybe the price would be different. So with that being said, as always, I always tell you guys, this is my personal experience. So whatever your experience is, you're more than welcome to put it down in the comment section below, because as a community, if someone is looking into this information, they can see what I've said, they can see what you said, and they can make their own conclusion and make their own decision for whatever it is they want to do. And also, before I get started, I want to go ahead and talk about the currency rate. These bills are from 2013. Obviously, the bills that I have here are in Dominican pesos, so I'm going to give you an estimate of what it would have been in dollars around the time of the bill. Obviously, the exchange rate changed a lot. I'm just going to go by what I remember. It was like somewhere around 44 to 45 Dominican pesos to $1. And as of today, I'm showing it to be 47.25 Dominican pesos to 1 US dollar. I just went on to Google and I put in, the Dominican peso to $1. Now, some of you may say, hey, that currency converter is not the best. You should have used this or that. You're more than welcome to put whatever currency converter you use in the comment section below. This is just what I'm going to use. First things first, let me fix my hair first. Okay. First things first, I went to Centro Medical Gascoy. Now, again, there are a number of different places you could go to, but this is the one that I went to. I'm not saying you have to go there. I'm not saying the best. I'm not saying it's the worst, but for whatever reason, this was the one I ended up going to. Definitely more than one occasion. You can see here, the doctor gave me a little note. This is actually what my bills look like. All right, so the first time that I went, based off of the bills that I have here, I went in August 2013, and my first bill was for 1,075 Dominican pesos. Now, in 2013, that would have roughly been $24.43 to go to the emergency room. And no, that's not including any type of insurance at all. That was straight me paying out of pocket. In today's dollar, that same bill, we would be looking at $22.75 paying out of pocket. The next time I went was in December 2013, and the bill was 925 Dominican pesos. And in 2013, that would have roughly been $21.02 out of pocket, no insurance in that at all. Now, in today's US dollars, that same bill would be roughly $19.58. I think in regards to talking about having health insurance and getting it in the Dominican Republic, maybe that's a video I will save for another day, because right now there is only so much I remember about it, but I'm pretty sure if I go back into my old paperwork, I would find something. I think even at one point I could have gotten on Gary's health insurance. At the time, I was still under my parents' health insurance coverage. I did have international health insurance coverage, I believe, for roughly a year. Again, this is why I want to go back and look into that information before I tell you guys. But I really think, if I'm not mistaken, that international health insurance was only going to step in after my primary health insurance covered whatever cost first. Let me go ahead and roughly tell you what happened in regards to me going to the emergency room. And then also I am going to I'm going to talk briefly about buying medicine from the pharmacies. Why I went to the emergency room, I basically got a fever on 2 different occasions. There was a time in my life where I was getting a lot of sinus infections, and because it was still a new thing to me, I couldn't realize when it was getting ready to happen, or when it was, when my sinuses were flaring up, I guess. I just couldn't tell when it was happening until it was already too late and I had a fever. Basically, I would get really sick and I would have to see a doctor, and I would have to be in bed for at least 5 to 7 days. Oh, and behold, that ended up happening to me a couple of times, or a few times, while I was down in Santo Domingo. I would get a sinus infection, again, still kind of being new to the whole thing. By the time I realized that that's what was taking place, I had already had a fever. If I remember, it just got to the point where it was really bad, and I was like, we have to do something now, and we just ended up going to the emergency room. Now, again, that's from what I remember. If later on I remember something else, I'll try and correct myself. So again, I know there's a lot of coulda, woulda, shouldas. However, that's in the past. I ended up getting my sinus infections. I ended up getting my fevers. And the only thing that we could think to do was just go to the emergency room, so that way they could try and help me, and to help me get rid of that fever as soon as possible. So what I wanted to tell you guys in regards to having to buy medication, I started to become aware of when I was getting the sinus infections and what I could actually do to treat it myself if I got the fever. At this point, it had now started to become obvious to me that once I got the sinus infection, I would need to take an antibiotic. I am not, again, telling you guys what you should or what you should not do, especially when it comes to things related to health. I don't tell you guys what to do anyway, but I'm definitely not doing it when it comes to health. So with that being said, I learned what antibiotic I could buy from the pharmacy to go ahead and get rid of the sinus infection. So I would go to the pharmacy and I would buy it. So when you go to the pharmacy there, you don't always need a prescription. I think it just depends on what the medicine is. There were a number of times where I would go and I would get my antibiotic, or I would get whatever else I need, and I did not need a prescription for it. And it was very cheap. If I'm not mistaken, the antibiotic I took was roughly $30. And again, that's me like paying out of pocket for it. I am not like trying to promote anyone just trying to go to the pharmacies there and try and buy whatever you can and get it for a cheap amount. That is not what I'm saying at all. This is just more for informational purposes, and so that you can see like just again what my experience was, and if you plan on moving there, you know, these are things that you might notice yourself, or this might be something that could actually help you. I don't know. Definitely do your research. You can talk to doctors in your home country, wherever you are, because I know a lot of you are all over the world. So wherever you are, talk to your doctor in your home country in regards to what you should do when you go abroad and you need medical help, or you need to go to the hospital, or what to do about medicine. Always seek a professional in this area first. When it comes to health, it's nothing to actually play with, and you want to get professional advice. You want to get professional help always. I hope you enjoyed this video. Right about now, a picture's gonna come up. Go ahead and click that picture. That's to subscribe to this channel. After you subscribe, go ahead and turn on the notifications so that way you won't miss any videos. You will also get to see more of, you know, topics like these, living in the Dominican Republic, traveling in the Dominican Republic, Dominican Spanish, and just more videos of Gary and I. Thank you so much for watching.